Well, hello there, everybody, and welcome to the newest World War I game to grace us from Vitar Games, and a special thanks for them to allowing me to play this demo. We are looking at Dig In, an action strategy, real-time strategy with some management elements in it. In fact, very deep management elements. It's all about trying to get your way across the Western Front into enemy territory, and at some point it looks like they'll be adding the Eastern Front too. As you can see in this demo, we can only take a look at year 1914, a classic scenario, and the battlefield of Ypres, but you can see that over time they're going to be adding a bunch of additional stuff, probably also that Eastern Front and the ability to play in different seasons. Now let's jump right in. Currently we can only select the British. Of course, once the actual game is released, you can select from a number of different nations. Now, I also want your guys' thoughts in the comments, letting me know what you think about the visuals once we start the game. Do you appreciate them? Do you like them? Would you like to change some things? I really want your feedback. And as always, please like, comment, and subscribe. Really helps me and the channel out. Here we go. So as you can see, guys, right from the get-go, look at this. You've got an entire group of men. You actually have names for each of the men, and you can even promote them. But they're going to need certain things to survive out here on the front. Now, the first thing they're going to need is a trench, right? And considering that the enemy is going to be this way, north of us, we're going to go ahead and start building the trench kind of close to this bridge. So let's just go ahead, and of course you can plan these trenches however you want. I'm keeping mine quite simple. I'm just going to go ahead and dig it, and the second we do that, there are going to be men that are going to head out there, and they are going to start putting the trench together. Now, the management elements of the game, so number one, you can chop wood. You can collect a number of different things, including just salvage or food. So you could imagine on a World War I battlefield, there would be a whole bunch of salvage. Over here, we can probably find some, and right there, as a matter of fact, you've got a large abandoned cart full of salvage. So the idea, of course, is to get started, but here's the really cool thing. If we go over here into research, we can actually begin research into modern war, of course, the Maxim guns, an ammo storage facility, etc. But I'm actually looking at field survival for now, and the reason is that allows us to build a cooking stove, and believe it or not, that's quite an important thing for our men on the field. Now, another important thing is just to have enough beds for everybody, and really I like to keep them as far back from the trench line as possible because there are regular artillery strikes that come in, and obviously if they hit your men, you're in a bit of trouble. Of course, you could spread it out. You could put a few beds over here. Graves are also important. So all of these things have to do with morale and also just hygiene. Frankly, if you have any enemies that attack and you have to defend yourselves, first, you're going to want, of course, graves for any men that you may have lost, but you're going to want graves for the enemy, too. It's unnerving to have a dead body that close to your men, and it's going to affect them negatively. And that's not to say anything about the actual officer panel here. So you have an actual company commander here, as well as a platoon commander, and either of these guys can actually get killed. So we've got Rodney Beebe here. He's the platoon commander, but if he gets shot down, you could select one of these other men and upgrade them to platoon command. Now I'm going to come back when we actually have that trench set up so you guys can see what we're looking at. But what do you think so far? I asked you earlier to comment on the visuals. I'd love your thoughts. Did I mention there are also regular artillery barrages that drop in? We're waiting to see if one of those will pop off. And actually, while I'm at it, I'll show you another element of the game, which is, of course, the ability to get some barbed wire and sandbags. But also, you want to keep in mind, your men are not just going to naturally peer over the side and fire. What they're going to need are some fire steps. So we got a trench fire step there and there. And this way, when the enemies attack, our men will be prepared. I kind of like to separate them by 2 tiles, but you could actually build them all the way across if you want. All right, we'll return when this is nice and built. So I've actually just unlocked the actual food storage area, guys. Now, you may be wondering, how do you get food from the front? There is, I believe, a canteen over time, but really you are regularly getting things delivered to the front. I believe every couple of days. So food will come naturally for the most part. Occasionally, you may need to venture off and look for salvage like this right here. We've got some destroyed artillery salvage, although this one only offers us construction materials. But now that we have the fire steps up, take a look and see. Our guys are just getting the trench ready for use here. But once those fire steps are ready to go, some of our men are going to be allocated to actually defend here. And there we go, two first platoon soldiers, first section, Elliot Harrison and his buddy Robert Walker. The second the enemy comes across that bridge, they are going to be opening up. And actually, what we're trying to research right now, the modern war focus is going to give us access to a Maxim machine gun. Or maybe something besides a Maxim, since we're British. If you want to put that down below, let me know what it would be. There we go. So actually carrying additional sandbags to the front as well, just to help out. But I really appreciate and like this setup. I might actually put an additional trench fire step. Yeah, let's put just one more right there. And the second the enemy shows up, we're going to be ready for them. Now you can see there that there are insufficient sleeping spots. And as I mentioned before, I like to keep these sleeping spots away from the front, just because most of the artillery is going to strike in that general area. So we're just going to pop a few sleeping spots back here. Now, of course, if you get this game, you can set this up however you want. It's probably going to be a lot tidier than what I've got, but this is just how I like to do it anyway. Let's get those planks. We actually need additional planks anyway. And if we want, just to give you guys an idea, we could even build an additional trench. So maybe, for instance, having a small trench over here, kind of overlooking that area. Let's do that. Again, we'll return when the enemy attacks, but this is the kind of way the game goes. I really enjoy it, and as you can see, the research tree is quite massive, goes in multiple different directions, and you can focus on everything from machine guns or better wire barracks to illumination on the battlefield. From what I can see so far, I don't see any gas, but again, we are in pre-alpha, so that certainly could be a thing given time. Now, I did mention a cooking stove to you guys, so I'm going to put that over here, but I want you to keep something in mind, and I actually really love this particular level of realism for the game, but that is that if you've got a cooking stove or a campfire or a lantern, yeah, it's going to improve the morale of your men, but it's also going to make it a lot easier for the enemy to spot you and to subsequently send artillery strikes your way. Did I mention the incredible camera work? And there we go, man. We've got some artillery, and please tell me it's not dropping on our field HQ. No, actually it's dropping over here. Look at that. So any of the units that we sent out to grab that salvaged artillery could have potentially gotten hit by the artillery. Now, right now, we're just putting some good old-fashioned machine guns out here, getting them ready, of course, for the enemy. But keep in mind, you can approach this however you want. You could, for instance, put a trench work up here on this hill, and I think you'd have a lot better overwatch. I should mention also, the game is not just about defending. If you want, over time, you can lead an attack and try to take additional ground. So, for instance, get to the ruins, set up additional trench lines, etc., etc. I'd likely want to set them up on this hill overlooking the Rattenberg farm and the forest clearing, but that's entirely up to you, of course. And now that we've got some actual Maxim machine guns up, they're not Maxims, are they? I keep forgetting, that's just for the Germans. We're going to be prepared for the next enemy attack, but let's not forget we need those fire steps. So let's put some of those in. Third time's the charm. Boom. And see, you can extend them. I just don't like to do it that way, frankly. I kind of like to 1, 2, 3. I just like to do it manually. Oof. Some heavy artillery. And again, usually the enemy is going to aim for things they can see. In this case, the smokestacks, for instance. So they're getting closer. Bit of a creeping barrage, but they seem to be hitting just this area over here. Now, as you can see, we are still in alpha. Otherwise, this guy would be kneeled behind the machine gun. But for now, when units are using the machine gun, they just kind of stand behind it. The effect, however, is the same. Now, let's see if some enemies will attack. All right, guys, here we go. The Germans are jumping right across the bridge. And as you can see, we've kind of cut this side of the bridge off with some wonderful barbed wire. So this advanced party, sort of a scouting party, immediately is getting shot down. As you can see, I like that little spirit leaving their bodies, but let's keep in mind these are men just as any others, and you can see that they are unfortunate ravages of war. They even have names, a real sense of humanity here. The thing is, having these dead bodies so close to your trench line will affect your men, and you can actually see their personalities, what they're thinking about. And if you've got like a dead body nearby, they'll be thinking a lot about death, and they'll be negative thoughts. You can see the machine gunner is already starting to get that 1,000-yard stare just from that first engagement. Now, obviously, these engagements get tougher over time. This starting one is pretty straightforward, just a few scouting parties that try to make it over. But the goal of the game is, of course, to advance, take additional ground, put additional trenches, and as you do that, these subsequent enemy waves, as well as their artillery fire, are going to be more and more advanced and aggressive, and you've got to be able to respond in kind. So far, the way we've got these guys set up, I don't think I'm too concerned about this front line. But if I were to send my guys into battle, things could get hairy, to put it simply. Now, if you ever were wondering how you look at the total amount of soldiers, it's going to be up here, as well as their fighting spirit. And any soldiers that die or get seriously wounded will be in your casualties list. So despite this being a pretty short episode, we've done an okay job. We've been quite lucky. That doesn't, of course, continue throughout the game, though. You will have artillery strikes that hit your men. You will have enemies that manage to break through into your trench. But it all takes time. And if you put up a good trench defense, you might just be able to avoid that. Well, again, a special thanks to Vitar Games for allowing me to take a look at this game, and thank you guys for being here on these videos. I really do appreciate it. You guys always know you can help the channel out by liking, commenting, and subscribing, and if you'd be so kind, join and become a channel member. It really helps me out. Thank you guys, take care, and be careful on the front.